Welcome to day 11 of 50 and Starting a Business. Today we're going to focus on how to write the market analysis section of the business plan. Obviously you're going to have to do market analysis to be able to write that section. So we're going to focus on the 5 areas that go into the market analysis section. And that first is the industry description and outlook. So hopefully before you started your business, you did some market research and you looked at the industry as a whole and where your company or product idea would fit into that industry. So you should have a lot of that information ready. Second is the target market. And again, when you are creating your product or your company, who are your customers going to be? So that's also something that should have gone into the early stages of deciding to start a business. The third are market test results. So for example, I'm creating this YouTube channel, and part of my 30-day challenge to myself is to create videos. I used a whiteboard. I didn't use a whiteboard. I took a couple of videos, portrait, realized that was a mistake. And I have different topics. So this whole 30-day series is more about how to actually start the business and then writing your business plan, including, options of how to get funding, or at least how to write that section of your business plan. How to get funding is probably going to go into, not the 30 days, but thereafter. I've also created some videos on, how to get jobs, like good jobs for teenagers, good jobs if you're teachers, great side hustles, all of that. So I'm also curious, as I'm creating this channel, doing some testing to see like what videos, what topics get more traction than others. So that's my market testing. Hopefully you guys can do some of your own, and your market testing is going to go into your business plan. So if I was to write up a business plan for this YouTube channel of how to start a business, I would put in there like, okay, this is how I started and this is what I learned and these topics gained traction. I haven't done any videos with like a huge whiteboard behind me with me standing up, so there's a full body rather than just the top part, mainly because I don't have a huge whiteboard. So you'd be looking at a whole bunch of white space. I think that might look a little bit more attractive. But anyway, so those are things that would go into the market test results. Lead time and fulfillment. I don't have customers actually buying a product. So if your company is providing a service, you probably would not have a lead time and fulfillment that is really specific to a physical product. But it could be, looking at when a customer calls because they have a leaky sink or they want to install a shower. When you get that call for someone wanting to install a shower, what is that lead time for you actually going and installing the shower or that business? So you do want to understand that. The section 5 is competitive analysis, or it can be competitive analysis. And again, I mentioned in my 10 steps to building a business plan, 3 of my steps can be included in other steps. So I break out competitive analysis. I think it's very important to have a detailed, details on the competitive environment. Who are you competing against? What are their price points? All of that, rather than trying to compress it and put it into part of market analysis. But again, competitive analysis is technically part of that whole scheme of market analysis. But I think it's important to break it out. And it might be something where you break it out when you originally write your business plan, and then you realize that, hey, it's not necessarily that robust. Sorry, there's a lot of people sick in my house. This is Boo. Boo says hi. He generally likes to join us. Doesn't want to look at the camera. He's a little shy. Anyway, so competitive analysis. So here are my 7 tips for writing your market analysis. And again, these 7 tips really go into, or are for, all stages of the business plan. But the problem with the market analysis is you have a ton of data, or you should have a ton of data. And so it's important to kind of keep in mind some of these tips when you're writing it. So one is just be concise. And again, clear, good grammar, say in fewer words if you can. Bullet points are always better than huge long paragraphs. It makes it easy for the reader to see what you're highlighting. To use the internet. The internet has a ton of research. I mean, whether you go on to CNBC or Yahoo Finance, you can go to sec.gov, find your way to Edgar, and pull up companies' 10K, 10Q reports. A lot of companies out there actually already have competitive analysis done for their company, and if you find one that matches up nicely with yours, you can get a lot of information from another company's competitive analysis. Don't forget that you're looking at things a lot of times from the customer's point of view. So you think your product's great because it does X, Y, Z, but is that what your customer thinks? So you really want to make sure you're kind of bringing yourself back to, when I'm doing a market analysis, where does my customer fit in when I'm writing that up? And number 4 is summarize. And again, you can have a ridiculously huge market analysis section, which is why I break out the competitive analysis. But a lot of the data should go into the appendix. You don't want to write a business plan and then you have like page after page after page of these Excel spreadsheets and these graphs and all this kind of stuff. Pick out the most important. If you had 3 things that you can tell, the reader of the business plan, what are the 3 most important things? And you can always say, if you'd like additional information on XYZ, please see, page X in the appendix. So I would include the information you gathered in the appendix, but don't make it part of the main body of the business plan. Again, and this is, kind of going back and forth with things that I believe you should have already done, but make sure you do thorough research. Like, honestly, like I would tell you the first place that I would go, for building a YouTube channel, if there is a public company out there that actually has a YouTube channel as their main source of revenue or their main product, I would look up that 10K. I would look up that company on Edgar, look up their 10K and read their competitive analysis. Like, one, it's helpful for me. Now I don't have to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. But they should have information in there about the overall market for their YouTube channel. Like, what's the huge population? What do they think their market penetration is? Where do they see their market share going down the road? How are they planning on monetizing it, et cetera, et cetera. So I would definitely use that. You can't do too much research. You can definitely do too much wrong research and you can get sidetracked. So always make sure you bring yourself back. What is it you're doing? I could be looking at YouTube channels, and I have watched a lot of YouTube channels of, how to do SEO or search engine optimization, what are the most important things to know when you do a YouTube channel. I've watched a ton of videos. Sometimes I kind of get looped in and I'm watching, I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I should do that. And it really has nothing to do with what my channel's focus is or my expertise is. So always bring yourself back to what your product is, what your expertise are, what your plans are going forward. And it's fine to change it, right? It's fine to change it down the road, but make sure it's intentional, make sure it has purpose rather than kind of just, doing research and then you're like, down this rabbit hole. Number 6 is use charts, graphs, and schematics. In, 10th grade, Mr. Wheeler, God bless you, Mr. Wheeler, he always would say all the time, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and he didn't make up the quote. But it stuck in my mind. It's the first time I think I heard the quote. He would have rather us draw a picture or a graph, I shouldn't say a picture, but draw a graph or a chart rather than write paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. Like, he just wanted to know, did you know the information? He didn't necessarily want to know how great your running is. And I loved him for that. I was not a good writer when I was younger in high school. It took me a long time to kind of get the patience to kind of go over and review my work. But just, in a business plan, if you can put something in a chart or graph, right? Our sales are doing this, right? They better not be doing this. Definitely not that. And yeah, if you graph out your sales projections, you can see, what does it look like? Are you trying to get early stage funding? Then it better be a hockey stick, right? But if you can graph out your information, it makes it much easier for the reader to absorb it and then have the actual statistics and data in the appendix. Number 7, make sure the information you are using and you are putting into this section and in general in your business plan relates to your business. And again, it's so easy, to start writing and, oh my God, I gained all this information, I'm going to put all this stuff in. And I found myself doing that when I was creating like my write-ups or my blogs, like, because I did have to learn a whole bunch of other stuff like video editing. You can see where that has kind of shifted in the videos I've made, and hopefully between this one and day 30 you'll see a shift in my video editing as well. But yeah, I all of a sudden it was like, oh, how to start a business. Oh, you need to know video editing. And it's like, no. That doesn't pertain to everyone's business, and it's not necessary. And, there goes, delete a whole bunch of stuff I wrote. But yeah, make sure that what you are putting into the marketing section actually has to do with the marketing of your business. Thank you so much for watching. And the next video is going to be on competitive analysis. Thank you so much.